bring this last one up. Rep Marjorie Taylor Greene. I like this tweet, and anybody who can admit they made a mistake publicly and loudly deserves some credit for that. MTG earlier today, June 3rd, 2025. Yeah, it was right before we went, give or take, before we went live, says, full transparency, I did not know about this section on pages 278, 279 of the OBBB, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Oh, God. Okay, sorry. I knew it was the bill. I just didn't realize it was the actual One Big Beautiful Bill. Oh, okay. Full transparency, I did not know about this section on pages 278, 279 of the OBBB that strips states of the right to make laws or regulate AI for 10 years. I am adamantly opposed, all caps, to this, and it is a violation of state rights, and I would have voted no, all caps, if I had known this was in there. We have no idea what AI will be capable of in the next 10 years, and giving it free reign, I don't think that's, is that how you spell it? I don't think that's how you spell it. And tying states' hands, I think that needs a little apostrophe there, is potentially dangerous. This needs to be stripped out in the Senate. When the One Big Beautiful Bill comes back to the House for approval after Senate changes, I will not vote for it with this in it. We should be reducing federal power and preserving state power, not the other way around, especially with rapidly developing AI. Even the experts warn they have no idea what it may be capable of. And then we got the page here. In general, except as provided, and I'm reading from the bill for anybody listening on podcast, except as provided in paragraph 2, no state or political subdivision thereof may enforce during the 10-year period beginning on the date of the enactment of this act any law or regulation of the state or a political subdivision thereof limiting, restricting, or otherwise regulating artificial intelligence models, artificial intelligence systems, or automated decision systems entered into interstate commerce. It's pretty freaking wild that they would even jam that in there. Rule of construction, paragraph 1, may not be construed to prohibit any law or regulation that the primary purpose of removal of legal impediments to facilitate. Okay, let's skip that out here. So this is very funny, and it's going to also come back to part of what I was discussing with Pisco Lidi yesterday, where he says, what's your view on the One Big Beautiful Bill? And I said, I don't have a thorough enough or a sufficient understanding of it to have an opinion on it. The idea of not reining in the spending after having had Doge created for the purposes of identifying the waste is already a red flag for me. So the fact that they're not reining in the spending and seemingly just increasing the spending is a problem. What was Doge there for? It wasn't just there to identify where the waste is. It was there so that it could identify it, audit, and the government act on it. And so, I'm sort of more online with Rep Massey's take on this. But again, the problem with these freaking bills, this is another thing. If you voted yes on something, and I'm not blaming Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's the nature of the beast. You're voting on something that is too big for any singular human's comprehension, period. If only they had AI to help with that. So it's too big for any one person's comprehension. And they vote on it, and you don't know what the fudge is in it. It's like what's her face? Nancy Pelosi's. Well, we got to vote on it to know what's in it. No, it needs to be small enough to understand what's in it. And they're so bloody big that they sneak in these Easter eggs. And so I good on Marjorie Taylor Greene for admitting it. Everybody has to now address the problem that these bills are too freaking big for anybody to vote in full awareness of fact and law on what's in it. And they end up throwing things in that are not Easter eggs. They are disguised Pandora's boxes. So I don't have an opinion on this. I know what my inclination is to think, and it seems to be on par with Elon Musk's opposition to the One Big Beautiful Bill. But the fact that you have people who are voting on something they don't know entirely what's in it and then realizing afterwards that there are things in it that they would never have voted for, but they've already voted for it. And now they're going to demand that modifications be made in the Senate so that when it comes back to the House, they then approve of a bill that has had the changes appropriately put into it that remedy the mistake that they made because they didn't know what was in it. This is a problem, period. Elon Musk tweeted, I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Tell us what you really think, Elon.
That just crossed Caroline. How mad do you think President Trump is going to be when he finds out that Elon Musk said, I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it.
Look, the president. on this bill, it doesn't change the president's opinion. This is one big, beautiful bill, and he's sticking to it.
Yeah,
Cameron,
thank you.
And something that just
Go
crossed
ahead.
Carolina.
One big, beautiful bill.
How mad do you think President Trump is going to be when he finds out that Elon Musk?
FYI, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Is not really the most reassuring of defenses to legitimate criticism from the person who was entrusted the most to identify the problems to be solved. Good on Marjorie Taylor Greene for publicly admitting that she made a mistake by approving a bill when she didn't know everything that was in it, because it's not humanly possible. She probably got either some private pushback or she was rightly outraged and thought she understood it sufficiently. Probably could have, tapped Encryptus for an AI deep search thorough analysis of the big, beautiful bill for things of interest, but you don't even know. It's impossible. It's impossible. And this is not how laws should be passed. It's not how government should operate. And it's not how representatives of government should be forced to vote on things that they cannot possibly adequately understand within the time frame that they are given to understand it for the purposes of voting on it.
One day later.
People accuse me of coping with Marjorie Taylor Greene's mistake, which was that she voted at the House level on this one big, beautiful bill, omnibus bill, without knowing that there was a provision in it that precluded states from enforcing or implementing their own AI laws for a period of 10 years. And she said, I talked about it yesterday, full transparency, I didn't know that on pages 278 to 279 of a 1,116 page bill that there were these provisions. And I say, I'm inclined not, when someone apologizes and recognizes their mistake, you kind of make it impossible for people to apologize in the future and correct their mistakes if you give them a freaking hard time for doing it, which is exactly why only the snakes and the scumbags and the scoundrels would give someone who recognizes that they made a mistake and asks the public for correction a hard time for doing so. Spy banger McGee, Eric Swallowell, is one of those people who writes, you have one job: to read the fucking bill, because now all government officials, at least the Democrats, think swearing is cool, and they've gone into it now. So they think swearing is cool. They think stupid ass memes. Taco Trump. Trump always caves. Trump
Chickens.
Always, thank you. Trump always chickens out. Taco Trump. Anybody who didn't get that, it's because you're not mentally challenged in the first place, where you actually don't understand these idiotic, demented, the left can't meme memes. So Marjorie Taylor Greene wrote this yesterday. That I didn't know there was an AI provision in it that says states can't legislate AI for 10 years. That's a big freaking problem. And I was like, you had one freaking... They had 2 days to read a 1,116 page omnibus bill filled with pork, meat, salami, and a little bit of herring just to make sure everybody gets good and sick. And then people are like, oh, just run it through AI. Encryptus over at our locals community sent me the AI summary of it. On the one hand, I don't think you can get an adequate AI summary that itself is going to be digestible to tell you everything that's in it. You got to know what you're looking for. You got to know what your concerns are. And now, then they say, she's got a whole team. She's paid $150,000 a year to do this. The reality is, even if you had a team of 50 people to go through that bill in 2 days to make sure that you fleshed out all of the content, 2 days to make sure that you fleshed out all of the content, what's good about it, what's bad about it, and the potential legal risks that itself would take days and weeks to research and adequately predict, it's not feasible. Even if you had a team of 50 people doing it, you got to, am I still showing the screen? Even if you had a team of 50 people doing it, you've got to gather the information, analyze the information, digest the information, break down the information, and then reconstruct the information in a way that allows the CEO, the politician, the governor, the senator, or whoever, to digest everything that has been broken down and then reconstituted in digestible format. 2 days is not feasible, and these bills, by their very essence, are designed so they can sneak in these special interest Easter eggs. So I don't blame Marjorie Taylor Greene, because I sincerely believe every single flipping politician out there, when they vote on these omnibus 1,000+ page documents in 2 days when they have to read it, they're all doing it. And right now, Marjorie Taylor Greene is the first, or at least the first recently, to say, I made a mistake. I did my best. It's just not feasible, but it's not feasible. Then you got your Eric Swallowell, Spy Banger McGee jackasses. You have one job to put the claps hands in next time. You're not yet full AOC, Swallowell. You have one job to read the fucking bill. You know what the reality is? Swalwell does it. Anybody who's ever voted on a bill has done it. It's just that Marjorie Taylor Greene is the one who admits the mistake now and wants it to be corrected. Will the government ever go to, forget one big, beautiful bill, how about one small, easily digestible, issue-specific bill? That's the way it should work. But it's not the way it's working, and it's almost as though it's by design so that it doesn't work that way. And so some people say, Vivi, I'm giving Marjorie Taylor Greene a free pass because I'm aligned with her ideologically. First of all, no, because I'll criticize her when she deserves it like everybody else. I don't believe that I've ever been hard on people who sincerely and genuinely apologize for having made a mistake. Because when you do that, you deter everybody else and anybody else from admitting they made a mistake and apologizing for it. Some people say to me, Viva, don't apologize. It's good for nothing. No, first of all, I'm not apologizing for others. I'm apologizing for myself and to ensure that my audience knows that if I make a mistake, I will damn well put the correction on as big a blast as humanly possible. I can think of the big ones. When I accidentally thought that tweet from Solnat MD, the one that Joe Rogan read on his show, when I thought that tweet was real, and I thought that her having blocked me was an indication it was real, I still apologize for that because it's like you feel, if you don't, nobody likes making mistakes. But my bigger issue is the people who make the mistakes and then refuse to correct them. Everybody makes mistakes, especially in today's day and age. You retweet something that you thought was authentic, legit, and it wasn't. Correct, retract. Don't hide it. Then your audience knows that you are a liar and a coward who will never admit that they're wrong. And even though the naysayers out there are going to say, well, now he's imperfect, we are all not just fundamentally imperfect. We all make mistakes. And the biggest mistake that you can make after having made a mistake is not having apologized and corrected the mistake. So I won't give Marjorie Taylor Greene a hard time for that. And I don't think I've ever given anybody a hard time even if on the left, even a Democrat coming out and saying, I made a mistake, I apologize. Good. Move on. If you make the same mistake a second time, then we can revisit the discussion.